Hello everybody, welcome back to Web Page Design, Area Lutheran High School Online. Week 9, Lesson 9, Assignment 9C is just a quick introduction. Last week I had you install the Balsamic Wireframes tool. Hopefully you didn't have any trouble with that. If you did, please let me know as soon as possible and I'll work through that. But today this week, we're going to actually use it. Last week we just had you do some reading on wireframes, so hopefully you understand the purpose of wireframes. Just a quick review. They're just a tool in the planning phase of developing a website. So it's good to kind of scratch out on paper or in a tool like this what the layout might be, where the menus are, if there's going to be images, text, links, those kinds of things. And wireframe tools like this are really good at that. They allow you to kind of think conceptually and work with other people, which you're doing for your church or school website page. So that's why I want you to get comfortable with a tool like this. You could do this with a paper and pencil or paper and pen, but I find this to be a little bit more flexible, a little bit easier to share. So this is what we're going to do with the assignment. We're going to have you pick the home page. This is going to be an existing website. We're going to look at it, the home page of your church or school's website. Don't care which one, just pick one. And then what I want you to do using the Balsamic Wireframes tool is basically mimic it, recreate it in a wireframe format. It doesn't have to be exact, but it should look similar to the real page. And when you look at both, when you look at the website and you look at your wireframe, you should be able to tell that they're the same. And then I want you to save the wireframe. This should say PDF format. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And then upload it to complete the assignment. Also, when you upload it, make sure you tell me what website you were looking at when you recreated it. Okay, I do give you an example here of one that I created. So this is up in the Balsamic Cloud site, so you can see my example. I'll show that to you in a minute. And the site that I recreated, which was the Area Lutheran High School's online site. But before I do that, I want you to give you a quick tour of Balsamic Wireframes. It's actually very simple. It's a little drawing program that allows you to drag and drop little components or widgets, whatever you want to call them, to recreate your website or to kind of map out or mock up your wireframe. You can have as many of these wireframes as you want, so you can click on the little button there and click rename. So maybe we will just call this ALHSO, because you can add more wireframes just by clicking this plus button up here. So maybe you've got, when you're doing a real wireframe project, excuse me, you're going to not just do the home page, of course, you might do sub pages and those kinds of things. So you could have many different wireframes. But this works very simply. If you just look at the top here, these filter the icons or the widgets or components that you see at the top. So right now we're set to see all of them, and as I scroll across you can see that there's a bunch of them here. But if I want to kind of drill down into maybe the most common, I could click the filter there, or ones just that are having to do with text, I could filter it that way too. There are a number of ways also to use these. So if I wanted to add a label, I could double click and it'll just appear here, and I can drag that around, just click and drag. I can double click on it and add more text, change the text, and just hit enter or click away. I do also, over here in this panel, you can change what's in this panel with these icons up here. But this panel shows me that I'm using a label, and I can actually transform that to anything I want as well. Let me click away from that. Then we'll go back here. I can change the position, the size, layering, the links, orientation. So if I wanted to turn it on its side, I could do that or go back. Lots of things that you could do with this selected. Although I can just drag it out as well if I wanted it to be bigger. So all kinds of things. Let's go back to all here. Maybe I wanted to add a, here, let me scroll over and pick a couple common ones. One would be image. You're going to use that a bunch. You can give it a name. So this is going to be a mocked up name. So my picture. You can also double click on this and it'll ask you to put in an image. So we could actually get one from our local computer and just throw it in there and it would show up. So I can do that easily. You can hit delete to get rid of it. All kinds of things that you can add here. So just have a little bit of fun with it. And so here's that rectangle I was talking about. You can also do a quick add here. So if I didn't know exactly where it was and I wanted to find, maybe the search box, I could go ahead and do a search on the search box, and there it is, appears right there. I can make this a little bit bigger, a little longer. So you can move these around. Notice that when you move them around, let me go to text and add a little bit more information here. So I'm going to go to text and I'm going to add just a block of text. So let's just go ahead and add that in here. I can make that a little bit bigger. And let's just say we want to make sure these were lined up. You can tell where things are lined up just by moving these around and seeing these little lines appear. So you see how they kind of help you line things up. So if I wanted to line it up to the exact bottom of the text, or if I wanted this to be right above that text there. If I want to add a subtitle here, I can drag and drop it, and then I can just make sure that it's lined up that way. You can click and drag over the whole thing and move it around, so you can create different columns that way, or create boxes around the entire thing if you wanted. Let's do that. So pretty simple tool to use. So you can zoom in and out with this. Lots of pretty simple editing tools that you probably should already be familiar with from using other tools, just regular tools like Google Slides, that kind of stuff. So pretty simple. So this is the wireframing tool. When you do a project, you have this edit menu up here, this project menu. Here's where you can rename your project. Right now it says new project. Maybe you'd want to rename that to something that's more meaningful to you. But when you want to go ahead and submit the assignment, you want to click, go to project, and I'm using the web version. If you're using the downloaded version for Mac or PC, you'll have a menu up at the top, maybe an edit menu or a project menu as well. Just go ahead and use that. And then you're going to want to export to PDF. And then it'll ask, what wireframes you want, shrink to page, just kind of play around with it and then export that. You'll be able to download that and then upload it to the assignment. So let me show you one that I completed here. This is the web page that I was mimicking. So I've got just it's a fairly simple page. And let me go back to my wireframe project and I can show it to you right here. And there's the wireframe. So you can kind of see between the two that while all the images don't look the same, the general makeup of the page does. So I've got this header image and I've got this header image. Notice I've got a menu down here and I put a menu in here. I have the search box, which I added. So see, it doesn't look exactly the same, but you get the idea that you're trying to give your customer or whoever it is that you're working with exactly kind of what we're going to build. So you see I've uploaded some images and added them here. I've got dummy text in here. You can kind of see how it's not exactly the same, but it essentially gives you the sense for what this page is going to look like in a wireframe format. So that's really what I'm asking you to do. You can add links, etc., etc. But just a good mock-up of what that page looks like. So you don't have to be very creative with this exercise. You're really just kind of learning the tool and imitating what already exists. Now, when we use the tool again in a couple weeks, we're actually going to start building something from scratch where you're going to say, well, what do I want the page to look like? And that's where it gets to be fun. So that is the assignment. It is again due by Monday at midnight, worth 10 points. Here are links again to that, what I was just showing you, a link to this guy. And then this obviously links to this if you just want to kind of see what mine looks like to give you an idea. So that's what we're looking at for assignment 9C.